All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is vying for that Queen of Violence championship, looking to add another BKFC title to the mantle. And October 4th is when that goes down. BKFC 82, it is a massive card and a bantamweight bout that's set for the feature fight of the night. We'll see Christine Ferea, the flyweight champion in the promotion, take on Jessica Borga, the featherweight champion, and super excited to have Jessica on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How are you doing? You having a good day so far, though, Jessica?
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
No, I mean, it's just such a massive fight and just, so cool to see this kind of come to fruition and everything. And I imagine you're excited getting to, be so close to finally throwing down with Christine after you two almost fought a couple of times at that presser there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been a long time coming and I can't wait to get my hands on her.
And I mean, it's more of like a localized kind of situation for sure, but still kind of like getting into newer territory all the same as part of BKFC, like your last outing being part of that 2 day Dubai foray that they had, and this being the first event in the New Jersey market and everything like that. Like it seems like another massive event that you're featured on here.
Yeah, it's an honor that I've had the honor of being at such great places. Honestly, so quick in my career for BKFC. I'm just it's an honor to be on such big cards and be able to get the eyes that you want on you and being able to make a statement doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot to talk about with this next fight here and everything like that. But I do feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't at least briefly, touch on that championship winning effort. I mean, just such a massive highlight reel knockout over such a pedigreed opponent and Hannah Rankin, who's previously held gloved boxing championships and cementing yourself as the first ever women's featherweight champion. So can you, I guess, just give some of the, I guess, major takeaways from that BKFC 72 fight? It seemed like a massive one for you and everything.
Yeah, it really was. I have to thank my team. They're making me a complete savage. They're making me so technical, and I haven't even really got to show my technique. But just winning against someone who went the distance, Clarissa Shields, and such a pedigree of, like you said, a great boxer. Two-time world champion, and 26 seconds. Well, they called it was 26 seconds, but they're saying it's 32 seconds, but it doesn't matter. It was fast, and it couldn't have gone better. I got to show who I was there, and I'm going to show myself again and prove myself once again on October 4th.
And it's really interesting you say that because I was combing back over our last interview just to prepare for this one. And when we were talking ahead of that Rankin fight, you were discussing how a lot of people can underrate your technical boxing skills and stuff like that, just because these fights are ending so quickly. I mean, it's obviously not your fault per se. I mean, you're having exemplary results, but do you think this is the kind of fight just with someone like Christine Ferea, who is so experienced in the bare knuckle space specifically, and many see her as like that number one pound for pound in the sport? Like, do you see this as an opportunity to, I guess, really showcase all the tools in your toolbox in like a live competition sense?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think if you really know the sport or if you know combat sports at all, if I'm finishing them that fast and showing that they don't belong there with me, I that is skill. I don't feel like you have to go the distance to show you have skill. If you're finishing them even faster, I think that's even more skilled. If you're getting out, unscathed in bare knuckle boxing, that means there is some skill that there's got to be. So, but finishing her, yeah, I think that'll solidify my role here even more.
And I mean, Shift is no stranger to bare knuckle gold, just with people like Jared Warren and David Mundell previously bringing in titles and whatnot. But has to be always good to bring in some extra gold and stuff like that. Just bringing your BKFC belt to Shift and kind of, I guess, filling out that resume for the gym that much more so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're trying to be the best of the best, each one of us, and with them behind us, it is they just have the secret sauce. As we said before, the coaches know what they're doing. They work well together. We have an amazing team. We have elite, bare knuckle boxers with us, and it really helps elevate each of us.
And it's kind of interesting just kind of redirecting the focus to this Faria fight, just because you kind of used that wording of like, oh, it's been a long time coming and whatnot. When did you first, I guess, notice there was that dynamic with Ferea where you felt like you guys would fight? Like, is it a animosity thing, or is it more oriented to like she's at the top of the sport, I want to fight the best sort of thing?
I honestly, I'm fighting someone smaller. To me, it's not. I don't underestimate anyone. I'm not saying that. It's just I don't see the point in us fighting, but at the same time, I'm more than happy to do it because of her mouth. So I don't feel like I have to prove that I'm the queen of violence. I think my fighting speaks for itself. But with her mouth and her technically being the face of the female division, even though she hasn't been tested against someone bigger and stronger and more violent like I am yet, she will be on the fourth. I just, it is what it is with her. I can't wait to beat her. I can't wait to show the difference between her and I.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a very interesting fight because you're speaking about it from the perspective of, I guess, fighting a smaller opponent ultimately, and it doesn't, I guess, stoke the fires in that kind of sense, like at least in terms of the weight component. I guess within that, like, is there a certain level? I mean, obviously there's the animosity and whatnot, but I guess within that, is there a level of, I guess, quasi respect with your opponent jumping up 20 pounds to, take this fight against yourself? I mean, you're a champion at featherweight, so the top of the heap in that division. And seems like from an interview I was seeing that she did recently, that KO on SI interview specifically, it seems like she's bored at 125 per her wording there. Like, is there a quasi respect for her, I guess, jumping up here to take on such a big challenge?
No, honestly, because she hides the fact that she walks around between 140 and 145 and is a weight bully at 125. She just doesn't want to make that cut anymore. We walk around similar to the same weight class. So she's actually going to be fighting, and I think what she should have been fighting in this whole time. But I mean, respect to her, I guess, for acting like she's not scared. But I know she is. She is obviously scared of my weight. She said it in the press conference that she's worried about me not making weight. The fight is scheduled at 137 with a pound allowance, by the way. So that's what the contracted weight is. So 138. And I will be 145 when I step back in that ring. So if she's scared of my weight at 140 or above, she's going to be facing a 145er and she's going to see me even more angry. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I even thought with your last fight against Rankin there was a bit of, I guess, building animosity or something beyond just even the competitive kind of considerations. But it seems like the bad blood is, that much more ramped up with this one. I mean, just, Faria talking about you and your team having no class and things like that, and you don't want to work for it and whatnot. Like, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It seems like you tend to find yourself in these, I guess, bad blood filled, animosity minded situations. Like, do you mind the banter and trash talk? It seems like you're not averse to it at the very least.
No, it doesn't phase what people say doesn't phase me at all, especially with what she's saying, because everything she says is like the polar opposite of what the truth is, and it doesn't phase me. People will always have opinions. People will always talk. There has been a lot more talk in BKFC and animosity than there ever was in my MMA career. So I know it's not me. I never had that issue with MMA. The bare knuckle people are a little bit, there's a different class of people, and it's usually the classless that are starting it, and she's usually the one that starts it and then gets offended whenever she gets it thrown back at her at 10 times 10 times worse. So and it doesn't bother me at all. My fighting always ends up squashing it anyway, so.
And it's kind of interesting because, like you said, it's almost at like a catch weight sort of limit, being that it's contracted at 138 and stuff like that. But it seems like the promotion is kind of like, I don't know, like not testing the waters per se, but kind of like putting out certain feelers for like 135 action just because there hasn't been that cemented champion there at this juncture and whatnot. And it seems like David Feldman highly touts both of you as individuals that could kind of lead that division. Like, if that like, do you kind of foresee that? Like, do you think that's kind of in the works a little bit? Like,
That's
what would your thoughts? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. A lot of people, I think they're confused. He's not doing another title at 135. It's just the Queen of Violence title. So technically, it is not the 135 title. It's just the title of Queen of Violence. So a lot of people are getting that a little bit wrong. So if it was a title for 35, though, we would absolutely have to be 135 and no above or whatever. But he doesn't want to. he doesn't want a champion in two divisions. That's going to be a lot harder. It's already hard to find us fights in one division. So trying to find us to be able to fight in both divisions each, within a year time frame, is going to be a little bit difficult right now. It is growing, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. But I don't know. I'm happy at 145. I'm just doing this just to shut her up. It's not going to change the fact, and it's not going to change my power.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying, a catch weight fight and more so for the Queen of Violence title. But I guess I was wondering if you'd even got the sense they were kind of like laying that groundwork more so to establish a bantamweight champion from here on out. But yeah, I mean, a very interesting fight. And it's cool that it's also on the same card as that King of Violence title fight. That Mike Perry versus Jeremy Stevens fight should be quite the throwdown on that same event there.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely, Jeremy Stephens is quite a bit smaller than Perry. So I'm interested about that fight, though. I really am. I like Stevens a lot, so I like the way his fighting is. It'd be cool to see the underdog.
Yeah, I mean, a very intriguing fight. And I mean, that Frankie Edgar fight is an interesting one, too. That clash with Jimmy Rivera and everything, Edgar making his debut. Just a really, stacked, intriguing event, it seems like.
Oh yeah, it's a great card, and being first in New Jersey, hoping to open other doors in other places. We're hoping to pack that stadium. It's the biggest one yet, so I can't wait. I love a big crowd, and that's about what I fought in front of in Bellator. So I like it. I like the big crowds.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of Bellator, like people who fought under that banner, I mean, Bobby Lashley kind of fits within that. And I saw IMDb credited you for a Raw appearance that you'd kind of did alongside him. And I've seen some teasing recently from Bobby Lashley and even David Feldman that there's some interest in him fighting for BKFC. Like, what would you, I guess, think about that? That would seem like an intriguing signee if that did pan out.
Yeah, definitely. I actually saw him. I want to say the first Texas event that was just not long ago, and I saw him sitting ringside. So I had an idea maybe that might be something he was interested in, but I think you would do great at it.
Yeah, it'd be such an intriguing addition to that heavyweight division that has so many just intriguing individuals. And I guess that massive $25 million tournament they're talking about too. I mean, that looks quite intriguing. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see something for the women as well, just kind of like across multiple weight divisions, just have at it. Like, would that be intriguing to you? I would presume it would be.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They said something about the baddest bitch around March or something like that. That would be great. Heck yeah. I don't care if they're bigger. I don't care if they're smaller. I mean, cutting weight is the only thing. Like, I'm not going to cut down to 125. But if it's an open division where they're going to be if they're okay fighting a bigger opponent, that's all. I'm all for it. Bigger, smaller, I don't care.
Yeah, it's just such an exciting time for the sport and everything like that. Just definitely love to see it. We got to get that Chris Cyborg fight going at some point too. I know we were talking about that last time, but I mean, what a mega fight that would be in BKFC potentially.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that she said that they're not willing to pay her what she wants, so she probably wants a shit ton for bare knuckle. But some people think that it's they need to get paid a lot more to be able to do this kind of thing. So it is what it is.
Yeah, is there anyone out there? I mean, obviously you're squarely focused on this fight and a massive matchup, but is there anyone out there on the general combat sports scene that also piques your interest in a similar way? I mean, if you get your ideal outcome here, you'll be the queen of violence, so you'll have a certain, I guess, status for sure. I mean, you obviously do now as the featherweight champion, but it would seem like you'd be in a good position to get some big name matchups thereafter if you get your ideal outcome on October 4th. So does anyone kind of stand out to you in that context, like even in like a dream hypothetical matchup kind of sense?
I mean, she is my, like that I would love to, cyborg against cyborga, but I don't really have it's depending on who wants to do bare knuckle, I would fight any of the legends, the ones from boxing, Clarissa Shields, all of them. Like I would fight any of them. I would fight anyone. It's just willing whether or not they're willing to do bare knuckle. So, I don't have my eyes set on anyone except for anyone that wants to be my opponent. Like, if you guys want to be my opponent and you're a big name, let's go.
Yeah, have you encountered, I guess, anything like that, like where maybe certain offers had been put out for different opponents to have you in against, or are you just more speaking to like the general kind of like overarching thing with bare knuckle, where it's like for some people it's absolutely their cup of tea, but then for other people it's like, maybe add a couple more zeros and I'll think about doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Cyborg says that she, they didn't offer her what she wanted, and so I'm guessing she's wanting like $1 million or something. Like a lot of people won't fight bare knuckle for cheap. I'm not in directly telling anyone, or I haven't heard anything or anything. I'm just saying, I will fight anyone. I've put that out there a number of times. I will literally fight any of the legends. I want to fight big names, so any big name that wants to come to bare knuckle, let's do it.
Yeah, I love the gamesmanship. It definitely comes across in a big way and everything. And I guess with this upcoming fight here, one of the last things I wanted to touch on, because I mean, it did kind of pan out in an interesting way. Like we were talking ahead of the Hannah Rankin fight, and you were like, I think she wants to make a point to get beyond the first round. I could see the stoppage being in the second round. Obviously, didn't necessarily pan out like that. So, I mean, interesting in that kind of sense. Like, do you have a visualization for this particular fight with Ferea as far as like a particular outcome that you see manifesting at all?
And it's crazy, I always plan as if I'm going for 5 rounds, like I'm going against the biggest, the best, the fastest, I plan and prepare for a 5 round brawl every time, even though I know what I bring to the table. And I don't think that she realizes after I hit her one time. I think she might try to run away a lot, but I think that she's not going to make it as long as she thinks she's going to make it. I don't see her lasting. I mean, I had a two-time world champion boxer, my last one, that was quite a bit bigger than me, that has gone the distance with legends, and I finished her faster than I anticipated, So, um, I think I'm underestimated a lot, but once again, I'll get to prove myself.
And how much of a feather in your cap would a win like this be? I mean, Hannah Rankin is obviously a great statement win, as we've kind of talked about, a former gloved boxing champion and has fought people like Caressa Shields, but I guess localized to the bare knuckle space, Christine Ferea with a handful of title defenses. To her credit, like, would this be the biggest feather in your cap in bare knuckle at this point, you'd say?
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, I think that she's been pampered a lot in the sport, but I'm not taking away from anything that she's done for the sport. She's been there since the beginning. She's fought 11 fights. Um, it's I had the respect for what she's done for the sport, but I do not respect her.
I get what you're saying. I mean, that distinction does make sense, and just so excited to see this fight finally happen. Like I said, there's a certain animosity component that creates the intrigue, and you both have great resumes. So, just an excellent fight on multiple levels. But like I was kind of saying before, in the terms of, I guess, being mindful of your time and schedule, Jessica, I figured I'd give you the floor in case you had a final parting thought you wanted to add as we're wrapping up here. I really do appreciate your time today.
No, thank you for having me. I just want to give a few shout outs to my newest sponsors. Secrets Hideaway, they've been with me, but they've also brought on SecIO.io. It's a cryptocurrency. iCandy Energy, they've been, with me for a little while now, but I always give them shout outs. They're my biggest sponsors. Shooting Sports Tampa Bay is new, along with American Roofing, Exterior, and Screening and More LLC. So, Hotworks and Billboard nerds, thanks for jumping on as well. And you guys are amazing. I really appreciate all my sponsors. They've literally, a lot of them have been with me since amateur, and I couldn't do it without them. So, and my team, my family, I love you guys.
Well, I love that loyalty piece with the sponsors and the shout outs to the family. People have seen quite the journey of yours over the years, and that next chapter in the story unfurling on October 4th. We're going to see that Queen of Violence get crowned at BKFC 82. Super stoked for this Christine Ferea fight, as I was kind of saying throughout the chat, Jessica, but really do appreciate you making the time today and looking forward to keeping that one when it goes down. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you too. I really appreciate you having me on.